Hello, welcome to the Export Market Development Grant Overview presented by ESS BIZTOOLS. I'm Peter Towers, Managing Director of ESS BIZTOOLS. I hope that you're having a wonderful day. Let's look at what the Export Market Development Grant is all about. The Australian government offers assistance to SME exporters of any type of business. Does not have to just be a company. It could be a sole trader, a partnership, a trust, or a company, to help Australian exporters and some Australian-based businesses who are offering services to overseas residents. Now, an applicant must have an Australian business number. And the applicant can be an individual whose principal place of residence is in Australia, a company incorporated under the Corporations Act, an association or cooperative incorporated in Australia, a partnership, a trust. Applicants must have been conducting the business under the same Australian business number for at least 2 years. And applicants must have a minimum annual turnover during the 23-24 financial year of more than, for Tier 1 applicants, and we'll explain the tiers in a moment, $100,000. Now that's turnover anywhere, Australia or export. Tier 2, $500,000, and Tier 3, $1 million. Now, the maximum turnover that an applicant can have in 23-24 financial year is $20 million. And the applicant must have the capacity to spend at least $20,000 per financial year of their own money on their proposed marketing and promotional activities. That's because that's the minimum grant amount, and the grants are made available on a 50-50 basis. Applicants must have a high-quality plan to market for marketing or promoting eligible products in a foreign country, which is specific to their business and the tier they are applying for. So if you were aware of the Export Market Grant a few years ago, this is completely different. It's a new scheme that started 2 years ago, and we're now into round 4 of the application process. Now, this grant for round 4 has opened, and it opened on the 12th of November. And it will close when funding has been fully allocated. There is a specific sum of money allocated by the Australian government for this particular grant program. And once Austrade, the government department responsible for this grant, has fully allocated the amount of money to the applicants, and the applicants have signed off on their agreements, then that is the conclusion of this round of funding. Now, this grant period is for 2 years, which is a new innovation in this particular grant. So it covers the 2025-26 and 2026-27 financial years. And let's look at the objectives of the Export Market Development Grant. First and foremost, of course, is to support more SMEs to become exporters, to support existing exporters to expand their export activities, and support supply of eligible services in Australia to foreign persons. Now, the assistance available, an SME may be eligible to apply for a grant in one of the 3 tiers of support that are available. And they don't have to start at Tier 1, then go to Tier 2 and Tier 3. They could, in fact, start with Tier 3 and later on do a Tier 2. So in Tier 1, the applicants must be ready to export and ready to start exporting or promoting eligible products to foreign markets for the first time. So if they've previously exported, they are not eligible as a Tier 1 applicant. Tier 1 applicants must have appropriate skills in marketing products in a foreign country. Now, this is demonstrated by providing evidence of either successfully completing a recognised export training activity that's listed on the Go Global Toolkit website, or an approved test by Austrade for assessing export capacity and knowledge. This is a new development also over the last couple of years, and you can understand the reasoning for it. The government wants to know that the people that are being supported have put in some of their own time first to make sure that they have some familiarity with what's involved in exporting activities. Now, in Tier 1, the minimum grant is $20,000 per financial year, and the maximum grant is $30,000 per financial year. So on the basis that the current round of grant applications is for 2 years, that means the minimum grant amount will be $40,000 over the 2 years, and $60,000 is the maximum over the 2 years. Tier 2, what's available? Tier 2 applicants must be exporting within existing markets. So they've started, they're exporting goods, and they're looking to export or promote eligible products and seeking to expand export promotion activities for eligible products. So they're wanting to lift the momentum up a bit, do a bit more in the markets that they're in. The applicant must demonstrate that they have established export revenue commensurate with the size of their business and the value of their product or services. I cannot find anywhere where that's actually defined as how that is determined, but that's in the rules. And they're expanding their marketing and promotional activities. This means they must be doing more than what they have done previously, because this grant is for expanding exporting activities, expanding, not just doing the same as last year. The minimum amount is $20,000 per financial year, but the maximum is $50,000 per financial year. So again, looking at the 2-year application process, over the 2 years, we're looking at a minimum of $40,000, which means your client's got to be able to pay $40,000 as well. And the maximum is $100,000 grant, which the client will need to be able to match if they're going to secure the top amount for a Tier 2 application. Now, Tier 3, applicants must be exporting to new markets. So they're already exporting, but the government now wants them to seek out new markets. And eligible exporters are people who are exporting eligible products or promoting and seeking to expand export promotion activity and make a strategic shift in the marketing or promotion of eligible products in a foreign country. A strategic shift. So the object of Tier 3 is to support SMEs to diversify, which is described as the strategic shift in their export activities to new markets that align with their export diversification plan. Now, for this round 4 opportunity, the export promotional activities must focus on key markets. And key markets is defined separately. Applicants may be eligible for a Tier 3 grant if they meet all eligibility criteria and are exporting eligible products demonstrated by export revenue. So they still need to do that. Now, the minimum grant amount is $20,000 per financial year, but the maximum is $80,000 per financial year. So again, because we're looking at a 2-year application process, the minimum is $40,000 and the maximum is $160,000. So if you're a client is seeking the maximum grant amount of $80,000 per year, they must have the ability to fund $160,000 from their own funds over the 2-year period. Now, Export Market Development Grant is a program that runs for quite a number of years. And a total of $770,000 can be secured under the Export Market Development Program by an applicant. So businesses do not have to start at Tier 1 and progress in order to Tier 3. I mentioned that before. Businesses can apply for any grant tier at any time, depending on their business's needs. But they can only apply for one tier per round, per grant round. So the grant years, applicants can receive Export Market Development Grant for up to 8 financial years, and they do not need to be consecutive. So some businesses phase in and out of growth in exporting activities. They may have reached a certain level and that's what they continue to do for a couple of years, and then they decide to expand. It's when they decide to expand, they may well be eligible for Tier 3, especially if their new markets coincide with the key markets identified by Austrade and the government. They need to submit a plan to market. So this is a business plan for export marketing. The plan must be unique to their business and directly regulates to the planned export promotional activity. The plan to market should be high quality, and all mandatory questions must be completed with sufficient detail. The plan to market must contain relevant information, details of the eligible products, proposed export promotional activities, details of the markets that the SME will target with their marketing and promotional activities, business goals the SME seeks to achieve through their marketing, details of how the SME will measure export success, the SME's marketing and promotional budget for the eligible market for the relevant grant year, details about previous export marketing and promotional activities that the SME has undertaken. The plan to market is very similar to a business plan and therefore needs to be a living business management document that may need to be adapted for changes from time to time. And it must be a unique document for the applicant and not a copy of a document prepared for another organisation. There has to be some real thinking go into this so that the plan is just not being produced to raise some money. It's part of a gigantic jigsaw that the business leadership team's putting together to try to utilise these funds available from the government, together with the applicant's own funds, of course, to achieve some real growth in their exporting activities. Now, eligible markets for the business to be exporting to are all overseas markets, except New Zealand, which for this purpose is treated virtually as being part of Australia, and countries that the Australian government has issued sanctions against. So it is most of the world. Now, T3 applicants have to be going to eligible markets nominated by the government. And there they are there. Bangladesh, Brunei, India, Singapore, Cambodia, Italy, Taiwan, Canada, Japan, Thailand, China, Laos, Timor, Fiji, Malaysia, United Arab Emirates, France, Netherlands, United Kingdom, Germany, Papua New Guinea, United States, Hong Kong, Philippines, Vietnam. There's some huge markets there. And quite frankly, I'm surprised at some of them that are included in the list. Obviously, Austrade and the government believes that more products can be exported into some of those countries which have had long-established trade arrangements with Australian businesses. The grant funds must be used for promotional activities to market eligible products in foreign countries after training activities to develop skills in export marketing. And they must be goods substantially of Australian origin and be goods, services, events, intellectual property, know-how, software. It could also be eligible tourism services and eligible services other than tourism. And both of those are supplied in Australia to overseas residents. Eligible tourism services must be supplied in Australia to foreign persons, including passenger transport by land, passenger transport by water or air, overnight accommodation unless for a business purpose or study, tours. Could be paid admission to various locations. An outstanding natural feature or it's of historical interest, a park, nature reserve or botanical gardens, a wildlife sanctuary or zoo, a museum, art gallery or craft centre, a place that provides amenity appropriate to tourists, a specific event that people are going to come to. Must be supplied to foreign persons, including services at a place the main purpose of which is to provide a venue and associated facilities for meetings, conventions and exhibitions. The services of a restaurant or cafe. Services directly related to the active gambling in a licensed casino. Now, eligible services other than tourism have got to be supplied to foreign persons and be at least three of the following. The assets used to make the services ready for sale or supply are mainly or substantially based in Australia. And the services supplied outside Australia, a significant proportion of the value of the services is added in Australia. The supply of the services directly generates significant employment in Australia. Events like trade shows held in Australia are eligible if they are being held to market or promote Australian products or services to international customers. If the event is online, the event must be provided by an Australian person. There must be a substantial proportion of international buyers at the event. So let's look at expenses. We've identified the type of products and services that can be eligible. We've identified the income required for the various levels of tiers in the application process. So what expenses are able to be claimed? It's not everything. So what are able to be claimed? They must be undertaken as promotional activities that have a designated connection to the product. Now, if the applicant is a Tier 1 applicant, export training activities undertaken for the purpose of developing skills in marketing eligible products in foreign countries is an eligible expense. That's only for a Tier 1 applicant. In the application, details should be shown of the budgets for each financial year that the application is for. And the applicant needs to be able to show, if requested, how they estimated the planned expenditure levels. So this is bringing into play that an applicant must have a budget. It might be extra work that you have to undertake for your client. And the applicant must spend their grant money on eligible expenses between the start date and the end date of the activity period specified in the grant agreement, which will be entered into between the applicant and Austrade. So let's look at specifically at some of these expenses. Maintaining a representative in a foreign country for more than 6 months, where the applicant's eligible expenditure is above $30,000, a signed agreement or contract outlining the obligations of both parties should be available for inspection. My comment on that is I think you need that type of agreement irrespective of what the cost is going to be, because there will be all sorts of issues involved in that type of agreement. So short trips to a foreign country of up to 21 days, continuous travel for the applicant or their representative between Australia and a foreign country. Only economy class airfares can be claimed, and a fixed rate of $350 per day applies for meals, accommodation, ground transport, and incidentals. Consultants can be claimed to undertake either research into the market in a foreign country or promotional activities to market the applicant in that country. Where the expenses are going to exceed $30,000, there is a requirement for a signed agreement between the parties. And again, I think that your client should have that irrespective of what the amount of expenditure is going to be. Foreign buyer visits to Australia of up to 21 days, continuous travel between Australia and a foreign country or within Australia of a prospective foreign buyer of the eligible product, so that the applicant can undertake promotional activities to market their eligible products to that buyer. Soliciting for business in foreign countries. Free samples being supplied. Promotional and advertising material, intellectual property rights, the export training activities that we mentioned for Tier 1. If you're advising your client on preparing an application for this grant, they need to complete the pre-program planning and requirements to ensure that the applicant is ready to export their eligible products. Tier 1 applicants need to complete the export readiness training and/or testing and complete the online grant application form. Enclose the necessary documents and attachments and submit the online application. Now, there's a fair bit of documentation to be supplied. 2 years of financial statements for the applicant. Remember, the applicant must have been in business for 2 years, must have had an Australian business number for 2 years. Evidence of capacity to spend at least $20,000 of the applicant's own funds in each of the financial years that the application's been submitted for. And evidence of compliance with taxation laws during the previous 2 income years. Tier 1 applicants, as we mentioned a couple of times, must provide evidence of export readiness. Tier 2 and Tier 3 applicants must provide evidence of export sales that they've made in previous years. And service providers' eligibility must be provided by all SMEs with services other than tourism. So they need to complete the details that we've summarised a little bit earlier. And the plan to market document outlining how the applicant plans to undertake new marketing and promotional activities needs to be included. The government will prepare via Austrade a grant agreement. Now, the grant agreement will be sent with a covering letter to the applicant, and there's then 21 days for the grant agreement to be signed and returned to Austrade. Otherwise, there is a strong possibility that the offer will lapse, and Austrade may well negotiate with a late applicant to this program and allocate the money to them. So the message from that is make sure your clients don't delay the signing of the document. Now, the payments, Austrade makes payments direct to the applicant's nominated bank account, and no additional payments will be made by Austrade, no matter what happens. Even though the applicant may have received a quotation for particular services, if the invoice comes in for twice that amount, there's no further funding going to come from Austrade, because by then they will probably have spent all the money that they've been allocated by the government. Milestone reports are also required, and normally these have to be submitted during the year. And your client needs to make sure that if there's been a request for milestone reports, that they are submitted. Otherwise, when they're trying to seek a further progress payment on the amount that's been approved, they may find that Austrade won't pay that until they receive that milestone report. So BizAid by ESS BizTools. All of the documentation mentioned in this particular presentation is covered within the Export Market Development Grant Overview package produced by ESS BizTools. Based on my professional experience as senior partner in an accounting firm, chief financial officer, and company secretary of a listed public company that happened to be a very significant exporter of Australian products, I think the fees that a firm would be able to generate from this activity per client, the advice has been given to, is $500 to $1,250 per client assignment. So as part of the BizAid by ESS BizTools campaign, we have a Black Friday promotion special offer that's available for the Export Market Development Grant. We're imposed a 50% discount. Normally, we offer this component as a standalone product for $300 for 12 months subscription. We've reduced it to $150 plus GST. You would have 12 months access, and you can use it with as many of your clients as you wish during that 12-month period. So if you're ready to take action, if you think this is a good deal, please go to the ESS BizTools website, www.essbiztools.com.au, click on packages and pricing, and then click on individual products. In this case, of course, Export Market Development Grant Overview, and you can then complete the subscription order form. If you need more information as to how this grant operates, please send us an email, peter@essbiztools.com.au, and we will respond to your questions. Or you could telephone me on 0747 24 118. Thank you for your interest in the BizAid by ESS BizTools. We look forward to hearing from you, and also your interest in the Export Market Development Grant. Stay safe. Have a great day. Goodbye. And I look forward to hearing from you on any questions. And I hope that you will see value in this product, especially at the special offer that we're making, so that you can start using this product package with your clients. Have a great day. Goodbye.